Okay, good evening, everybody. Um, so Hanif over there. So the other issue, we're going to start on the design of an Aleph on the bottom, and as Hashem finish the test of an Aleph, top the parak if time permits. So the other issue, in the case of you cannot write on a wooden tablet or on this grass blend paper, not on unfinished parchment. Megillah, it has to be on a finished parchment, like a regular klaf. Shemem b'sefer. It says in the pasuk b'sefer. In the case of the kaimis, I'm sorry, not with the gum. The article hedge is probably some sort of sap, and some sort of phosphorus, something. Again, another type of very strong dye that they used to use. Not anything that leaves an everlasting mark. It says you have to erase it, so we learn out kasav shiyacha limchais. It has to be a ksav, ksav shiyacha limchais, a ksav that's able to be erased. Right? Taisus brings down from the Rishami, that you can't just write it in the May Paris and Gwalnut, like something that has mamish no reshim, because it says kasav umacha. So it has to be a ksiva that's able to be erased. So you need to balance both ideas. So the Gemara Amar Rav and Megillah says if you write it at night, it's possible my time. It says. Asi taita, we make a zera taita. Ksif hachat v'az asala hakaines kala taita azais. It says over here by side that the client should do this whole taita by referring to this whole balagan with the isha. Ksif hasam al pia taita asher yerucha ala mishpan. In the bottom, it says I don't know Parshas Devarim. It says that al pia taita asher yerucha ala mishpat. So it says mishpat with the word taita, and it says over here by side the word taita. So we learn now ma mishpat. We know that Mishpah has to be by day. I'm sorry. We learned that in I want to say in Megillah with Bathsheba. She told David Melech that you can't be done din of that night. We know that we know that from there. Oh, that's one of the places. Ksava and Mafreya, fine. So therefore, you can't do Mishpah night. You cannot do Mesaita at night. Ksava Mafreya Psula. You cannot write it backwards. If you write backwards, it's pasuk. You have to write the curses. These curses. Ha'ela is the key ksiva. We learn from Ha'ela that it has to be written in the way that it is. That it has to be written in the way it's written in the Torah. Now, even though we learned yesterday that we learned Ha'ela to be remayed the klalas from Mishnah Torah, but I guess because the Eila is more of a pshat, we're learning regular like the type of Eila is mashma that has to be done k'diksiva. If you wrote it before she was makabel on herself, the shvuas, then it's possible. It says in Pasuk Parashat Bamidbar, Parak Hey. Pasuk Chaf Aleph, it says Veshbia, and in Pasuk Chaf Gimel, it says the Kasav. So see, the Ksiva has to be after the Ksiva. If you write it in a letter, which means Rashi says without any sertot, because it says it's possible. It says Sefer Amar Rahman, it has to be a sefer like we have with a sefer with a sertot. Ksava al Shnei Daf and Psula. If I write it in two columns, it's possible. Sefer Echad Amar Rahman. It doesn't say Sefer Echad, but it says Sefer or Medayit. They only write one Sefer, and not two Svarim, which is two Dafim is considered two Svarim. Amar Rachman v'leishnei v'shlosh Svarim. Kasav Isachas u'Bacha Isachas, Kasav Isachas u'Bacha Isachas Psula. If you write one, we're saying one letter, but even if you write them one sentence at a time, if you write one part of the Megillah and then you erase it in the water, right? Not erase it with the back of an eraser, but if you erase it in the water. And then you write the next pasuk. So at the end of the day, you wrote the whole Megillah and you dissolved the whole Megillah in the water. But because you didn't have a full Megillah at the time of the dissolvation, it is possible. It's the whole Torah, the whole parsha of Sotah has to be here together. Then you could erase it, and then it's considered kosher. But to write one line and erase it is not good. So we know. So we're going to go through the back and forth. The question is, if you write two Megillas, each woman has his whole Megillah, but I dissolve them in the same cup. Ksiva l'shma ve'ina ve'eka. Is it the issue? Is the only problem that I need ksiva l'shma? And over here I have ksiva l'shma because I wrote two separate Megillas. I didn't ve'ina nam mechika l'shma, or I need the mechika to be the shma. Rashi points out that the mechika l'shma, the lashon is not so glatt because it's not l'shma because I did it in two cups. It has to be just miyuchad, really. So the question is, it has to be miyuchad, it has to be nikr that it's a shema. Rashi says the lashon, but it sounds like it's more of like a miyuchad issue. Let's go with the scenario that I need two separate cups. Let's say I dissolve them in two separate cups and then I mix them together. Do I need the original dissolution? Do I need it to be dissolved l'shma? And I did that. She didn't drink hers and she didn't drink hers. So you have to just has to drink her water. Let's say I divided, then I split it back into two different cups. What's halacha? Yesh breira, ein breira. Now I don't understand why breira would only come into play on two separate cups, but not if she drinks first and then she drinks other. Why don't you say the breira in the same cup? I don't fully understand that. But the one answer is teku. This whole balagan is we don't really know the answers. There's a hey over here, and there's different letters. I think the Rambam passes a certain way. But we are not learning the Rambam, unfortunately, right now. Two types of tubes or straws. Rashi says a sieve is the way Tinaikas used to drink. So I thought it was like a sippy cup, and then the article says that it's more like a part of a reed, like the inner part of a tree. The point is some sort of tube where she's not drinking from the kais like the normal the kedersh. So the Gemara's the nidan is is it considered a derech shia? She has to drink it. Is this considered derech shia? Because at the end of the day, she's drinking the water; it's going into her mouth, or that's not considered derech shia. So the Gemara, right to take it. The Gemara take it. But Rashi nishmachu man. Let's say the guy's a klutz and he drops the keli and it spills out. What's the halacha? So they discuss the Masifta brings down that the whole nidan is only if there's a revius left over. Because less than a revius, I don't have. It's not even a share shtiyah. Now, which is a raya that it's not like Rabbi Yehuda, because he says Rabbi Yehuda only says there's a tefillah that I only need a revius. Rabbi Yehuda says over here that he needs a revius. So maybe the Gemara is not passing like over here. And in fact, it looks like the Rambam Paskins like the Chatzi look. Okay, which maybe his raya is from here. Okay, interesting. I'm curious to look at that. Take it. We don't know. We don't know what happens if it spills. Why does it have two different lashon shuas by the site? Achas. So he says achas koydem. Rav asks on this. In the order of the psukim, both the lashon shvuas is before the mechika. So how can you tell me one's before, one's after? One is a shvua that has a curse with it, and one shvua doesn't have a curse with it. What's a lashon? What is it? How does it work with a shvua sheyeshi mala? This is a woman talking. And she's accepting the shvua shaloi nitmeis that I was not matama. She'im nitmeis, because if I was matama, yivuch bich, the water should go into me. She's saying two separate statements. She's saying that it's very dakistic over here, the words. She says, I'm making sure that I was not matama, because if I was, then the waters will go inside me. But he's saying it's two separate inyanim. We're gonna see how we change it later, and maybe we'll see the nafkamina better. If I was tamei, the water should go in. So he links the two sentences together. She never swore that she wasn't matama. She swore that if I was matama, then the waters will go in. But it's not a shvur that she wasn't matama. I'm swearing that I was not matama. The im nitmas, not she'im. V'im, it's a separate statement. And if I was nitmas, then the water should go. Again, it's very darkistic the lashon exactly what she says, but if you look at the Gemara, the lashon makes sense. The first Rav Amram says it's she'im nitmas. It kind of flows from the first, and it's Rashi Rav says it's really there's two standalone sentences. Because if I was matama, it's not really its own sentence. But over here, v'im, if I was matama, then it's a separate thing. So it sounds like the words leaves over to Rashi that the lashon of a shvur with a curse is that she swears that she wasn't matama, And she swears that if I was matama, the water should check me. What's a double lashon? Allah, Amin Allah Shua. She says Amin to the curse, Amin to the Shua. Amin Ishdev, Amin Mishacher. There's something called the Gilgal Shua. The Gemara is going to discuss, where once the husband, even if he's only makana her from one guy, once he has her on the stand, he could roll in the whole neighborhood over here. If he has any chash with anyone else, he wants to make her crazy, and we're going to see the different things that he can make her do. Amin Mishacher. Amin Shleish Slatisi Arusa Unasua. He can make her be. He could say that even a long time ago, even when I wasn't makana you. Even when you were in Arusa, the Shemeres Yabim Uknusa, and a Shemeres, and somebody who's Mekanis, who was Miyabim, his Shemeres Yabim could make her swear on while she was a Shemeres Yabim, or even on her brother's on his brother's yeah, he could make her swear. The Mishnah saying he can make her swear even when she was a shemeres yabim, and the Gemara is going to say even on her dead husband's marriage. Amen shaloinit mesi imnit mesi yavayubi. No, again the double thing. One which is really what the Mishnah said the shua and the Allah. So one is that on the shaloinit mesi the imnit mesi yavayubi. But may Omer, this is a massive chiddush. Amen shaloinit mesi. Amen shaloi etma. Say that I was not matama and that I will not be matama. The Gemara is going to discuss exactly how far that goes. Now, kol shavin, but the Maisa, all these shitas are the same, and everyone agrees. She'ein masna ima loy al kaidim shetis ares v'loy al acher shetis gares. And what it means after she's divorced, even if she's machzer, even if he's machzer, because it has to be a stira that would make her aser. So you can only make her. So again, if someone, you could only put in a scenario that if she was over, it would affect the relationship status. It would make it aser. Mister the echad v'nitvas v'acher kach zira lo yahya masnima. If she was like guys, for example, so if she was soiser with somebody after they got divorced, and then even if she was matama, I'm sorry, if she was nister with somebody even let's say before. And this the whole thing is going. Nista, I think Nista is going in. It could be Nista even when she was married. If she didn't do anything. If she wasn't matama with the guy, if she was matama with somebody, I think they're both going after. If she was Nista or matama with somebody after he divorced her, then he can no longer, if he's machzer, he can no longer go back and say, if you were matama while we were divorced. Zaklal, kol shetibal, v'loy have a surah, loy any bia that would not affect the relationship as far as Isser v'heter status, he is not able to be master her. The Rav Huna is going to bring a raya from our Mishnah that shemeres yavim, in other words, somebody who is zakuk, someone whose husband died without any children, and she's waiting for her brother-in-laws to do even more chalitza, and meanwhile she's mizana with somebody else. She's also to the yavama. She's also to her brother-in-laws. Why? Since our Mishnah says a shemeres yavim, a guy who marries a yavama, he make her swear that she didn't do anything while she was in a shemeres yavim. And the Mishnah says later, right? So the Gemara's going to go through it. That's very good. If you're going to say that if Ramanu is talking here, he's saying if very good. If I'm right that Shemeres Yavim says Aser, then it makes sense that you could be Masner. Later on, the Mishnah says that any beer that would not make her Aser to her husband. He's not allowed to make her swear on. So it must be that if he's able to make her swear on the fact when she was in Shemeres Yavim, then that means that if she would have done something in that time, in that kufa, she would have been usher to her husband. Ami B'Amarava, but in Eretz Yisrael they said less halachas like Rav Hamnuna, even though he has a very geshmak hadith from Mishnah, the halacha is not like him. Ella hagdik tani Shemeres Yavim kenusa amani b'kivahi. That's a b'kiva dafka. The Amar ein kedushin taisim b'chai be'lavim much like kieva. Rav Akiva is the one that holds that even a chayve lav, like a kind to a grusha, there's no kedushin. The kedushin is not typhus. If someone gives kedushin to a shemeres yabam, even though there's only isser lav, the kedushin would not be typhus according to Rav Akiva, and that's because he ramps up the status of a lav to a erva that it shouldn't be kedushin tyson. Therefore, in that lishi tasai, she's aser. But enechanami, we don't pass like that. So our Mishnah, we don't pass like that. Connection our Mishnah. So halachically again, Rav Hununa's diak is very geschmack. The Gemara says it's, and from the Mishnah you can be medayik that Shemesh is aser, and that's why he's allowed to make her swear. But that's only in Rav Akiva. So halacha lamaisa, we don't pass like that. Let's say a person's he remarried his wife. Reuben and Rachel were married. They got divorced and got remarried. And then after in the second round, she hid with someone and he makes her swear. Could he make her swear that she was never matama the first time they were married? Or a yavam that wants to make his wife swear on her first husband's marriage, on his brother's marriage. Hashma ze'achal kol shetibol v'loitei asur alai loihayim ha'asira hachanami demasna. Shmamina. You are saying very good that any of these bias would make the person asur, because we had in the first Mishnah that if the husband dies while she's a Sotah, and he does without any children, she cannot go to the Yavam. It has to be chaylet to any Yavam. What's the exact lashon? It's the first lashon, at the end of the first Mishnah. Sorry. Just want to get the Rashi this down, but it says if the guy dies without any children, the brothers cannot do even because they're asiter. So you see, if the fact that if she would have been mizana by her original husband, by her late husband, in other words, this her current husband's brother, if she would have been mizana to that brother, he would have now. So interesting. This just popped in my head. If that's the case, let me just finish the thought. So again, by the fact that we have the fact that this. We know that a woman's mizana under her husband, she does not, and he does without children, she does not get to go to the Yavam. If that's the case, then the Yavam should be allowed to be megala on the first husband's marriage. The question is, if that's the case, then a almana that marries a kayin, right? If she was mizana under her original husband, she's now a zaina, and it's also to a kayin. Could the kayin be megalgal a shvua on her late husband also? That I don't know. That's interesting. With everything that we said, it should also be it's usher. She's usher them. Okay, I don't know. I didn't see that anywhere. Not that I learned all the China. It didn't pop out anywhere. Okay, interesting. Zog the Gemara weiter. Meir Omer Amen Shleinet Meisi. Tanya Loikesh Omer Meir. This is interesting having to discuss this. It's a little bit short. Loikesh Omer Meir Amen Shleinet Meisi Titame. Don't think that if she would be Matama later, the Mayim are gonna check her now, which is a little bit impossible because she wasn't Matama. So how's the water check her? Allah, what are we saying? Look at if she's Mizana later on, and he's Megagal this shvur that if you Mizana in 6 months from now or a year from now, or 10 years from now, that the waters are gonna chap you, they don't do anything now, but in 10 years from now they're gonna get her. So it's a little bit short to say this, but so first of all, if she dies now, then she didn't do anything. So you're a catch-22. So somebody's trying to want to learn that one shot. I don't know if I was trying to, but one shot is that if she comes with the idea that she wants to be Mizana, she's standing here, which is a paladin thing. She's standing in the Beis Hamikdash. There's a whole balagan. They're harassing her. She's drinking the Mesaita, and she has in mind, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to call my friend. It's very interesting, and if that's the case, then it hits her, and then she becomes like it starts working its magic, and slowly she starts deteriorating. The Havamina here is a pella. I think we could agree that makes sense. So again, explaining the Meir's words, that don't say that she dies now or that she gets hurt now, but she's accepting now the punishment of the waters then. Okay. What happens? Could the person say we're married now. If we get divorced and I remarry you and you're mizana, then I want the waters to work then. Again, this is only according to Shita Sumeir, right? No one else is going to agree to this anyway because only a mayor talks about the future. So in Rav Meir, the Shayla is a in Rav Meir. In Rav Meir, can I say a future marriage with the same person? The Maisa right now, she's not asa to him. And she's not even in the relationship that would be asa. In other words, even if she's mizana, the first kedushin is not challenged because at this state, in other words, she's only mizana in their second marriage. So this marriage is really left untouched. So maybe he's gonna divorce her and remarry her, and then it's all, I guess, she's gonna be us to him at that point. You cannot be masna not before you got engaged or betrothed is probably the right word, and not after you got divorced. Nistera le'echa v'nitma if she's nistera and metamet to someone after they get divorced, masna. Then she cannot be. Then he cannot be masna because it's during the time where if the taka was something, it would not make her usher to him. But if he would but to be master on this chayzer, the chayzer would work. Shmamina and Chanami, the Gemara says it's a good raya that according to a mayor, not only could you go into a future in your marriage as it is, but you could even put it into future if we get remarried and they're not even divorced yet. So if we get divorced and remarried, then that the water should work. We'll be done in like under 10 minutes for sure. It says in the pasuk, a woman could drink repeatedly. We're going to see exactly what that means in a minute, but that's a Tanakama and the Brayso. So that's more from the lashon of Tairas, that there's multiple opportunities or instances or drinking interactions, let's call them, right? I don't know interactions, but there's multiple of these occurrences. With the fact that it says Zais is Mamayit, that only this woman drinks, she did not drink again. He qualifies the statement. This Nechunya who dug pits, he dug irrigation for the Eiler Galam. A woman could drink and repeat. But he said that this is only talking about two separate husbands. So the one husband cannot make his wife drink twice. So again, that's Rabbi Yehuda Shita, and that means that Tanakama holds that the first husband could also make his wife drink twice. So we have two Shitas so far. The Tanakama, we're going to further clarify them in a minute, but let's just build. The Tanakama says that one husband can make his wife drink twice, and Yehuda says no, each husband gets one drink with his wife. Can make his wife drink once. But with one husband, you can't make a drink twice. The Chacham go the other side and say even with two husbands, you can only drink one. So a woman who's getting married for the second time and already drink, the husband cannot make her drink again. The Tanakama, for the Gemara, how did the Tanakama say that a husband can make his wife drink repeatedly? Now there's a miyat. What do you do with the miyat? The pasuk is miyat. It's zayis. There is some sort of miyat. The gabi they're drinking. What do you do? The Rabban and the Rabban who seem to mix all second drinkings. What do you do with the riba of Tairas? Rav is going to lay out the entire machlekes. We have multiple different scenarios, and we're going to go through them one at a time. With one husband, and one suspected affair partner, that you could only get one shot. You drink one time with that combo, and you're done. That's according to everybody. Again, you cannot make a woman drink. The same husband cannot make the woman drink for the same affair, the same boil, but it's not a boil because we don't know that he's a boil, but the same suspected boil more than once. That's according to everybody. The chsiv zais. You have to be mayat something, so that's for sure out. Everybody holds that if there's two husbands and there's two separate affair boil suspect boil that you could drink. So if Reuven suspects his wife of being boil with one guy, and Shimon suspects the same woman of being boil with another guy, it's not a problem to be drinking according to everybody. Siv Titus, you have a rebut, so you're going to be marba the most diverse case. The more it's with there's multiple different, the more you're going to be marba for sure. Where there's the most amount of players involved. He pligi. Now you have another two scenarios, but ish echad ushnei bayil. Then you have one husband, but there's two guys that he's nervous about. But two husbands are bayil with the same bayil. So after she left her first husband and she's suspecting the same guy, she's still hanging out with him in the second marriage. Tanakama Savar. So Tanakama breaks it down like this: the Tanakama Savar Tairas Lerube Kule. The word Tairas is to be marba all the cases. I need Zeis. I need a riboy. I need the Zeis is Mamayit. So with Mamayit, Zeis Mulute Ish Echad Ubayil Echad. The most extreme case, the most obvious case to Mamayit is with one husband and one bayil. So you Mamayit, Zeis Mamayit that, and Tairas is to be marba all the other cases. Rabbanan Basrai Savar and the Rabbanan say Zeis Mute Kule. The Zeis is to be Mamayit all of them. Tairas Rubei Shnei Arash and Shnei Bayim. But you have to remember, you have to add in one scenario. So you're going to add in the two husbands with two different bayim. Rabbi Yehuda Zeis Mute Tati, Tairas the Rabbis Tati. Now, just to point out, Rabbi Yehuda is not the last shita. Rabbi Yehuda is the middle shita. But the simplest way to understand it is when you're saying shita, especially about pet, you say the most extremes, then you say the guy in the middle. So Rabbi Yehuda is the middle. He says Rabbi Yehuda is Zeis Mute Tati, Tairas the Rabbis Tati. Zeis Mute Tati, which is what ish echad bayil echad. The ish echad ushnei bayilim. So as long as you're going to be the mayit one husband, so each husband could drink once. Zeis Mute Tati ish echad ubayil echad ish echad ushay bayilim. So he's saying that both scenarios that there's one husband involved, you could only drink once. Tairas Rabbi Tati shnei anashim ubayil echad shnei anashim v'shnei bayilim. Hadin Allah haya maybe. So just a couple of ha'aras. First of all, Rashi explains the svar of Rabbi Yehuda. Why did he pick and choose? He flipped the coin and decided which two he should be married. So Rabbi Yehuda said that this guy, you see, is already after his first shot with bringing his wife to Bezin. We're already chayshish, and she came out clean. If there's an opportunity for a second one, but chayshish, this guy's a little bit of a paranoid guy. Maybe he's a little bit. He's a little insecure. I don't know what his issues are, but obviously it could be that he's the one who's in the wrong over here. So we're going to be Mamayat another case where he comes in. So even if he comes in with a second boil, we're going to come Mamayat that guy. That's Rabbi Yehuda's svara with that. The other thing is I forgot to add it from yesterday, and I'm sorry we're going backwards a little bit, but the Gemara has a Havamina. I'll say outside quickly. The Gemara discusses that the reason why a Mitzvah Tahara process is not considered a keves, is not considered that it's oiker, what the Torah says. One of the answers is from Rav Nachman says that it's because you're being meisif. And my kasha was, right, you're being meisif. The Torah says only shave certain parts, and you're being meisif to shave another part. You're being meisif to shave also, right? The pubic area is not mentioned in Torah. You wouldn't learn it out. Nothing's mentioned in Torah. Nothing. The Torah mentions with the riboy, with the klal part of klal, I would only be marba the pubic area. We're saying we do the whole thing. So that's a moiser on what the pasuk said. We're adding to what the Torah said, and that's not including what Rabbi Shmuel was saying. I hope I'm being clear. Because the Torah, Rabbi Shmuel said 3 times that we're oiker the Torah. We're oiker the Messiah is oiker what it says in the Torah, and we want to say that by Mitzvah, we're not being oiker because we're really adding to what the Torah says. The Torah says you only shave certain areas, and we're shaving everything. So we're not really being oiker, we're adding. My question was, when you say that the Torah says but he does include kisei adam, where the Torah says it's only with afar, and we're doing everything. We're adding afer. But we're not adding to the mitzvah. In other words, we're saying that the Torah's halacha is not important, is not finished. In other words, the Torah says that I did not do the mitzvah yet, and we're saying, no, you did do the mitzvah. That's being oiker. I'm being meisif by allowing more things into the pasuk. That's not what it means. Not just on meisif. It's all of it is meisif. We all add on. But it's to say that the Torah says that Eifer is no good. Are we saying it is good? The Torah is I don't have to shave these areas. And we say you do have to shave. So we're adding onto the Torah what the Torah said. By Afer, we're being mamayid because the Torah says I need offer, and I'm also saying, no, you can also use Afer. By a get Isha, according to the Torah, it says a safer. And that means I have to write on a cloth. You come and write on a banana peel. According to the Torah, she's an Ishasesh. You've mizana with her. I have skill, right? And I say, not me, but I'm saying the Messiah is no, a sefer b'chal davar, it's fine, and she's not Ishasesh. That's being oiker in the Torah. By another, it's a little more complicated because you're saying that he's over malchus, that we're giving him more malchus, but by giving him malchus, we're being oiker of al taisiv pen taisiv. That you're allowing a Jew to be hit, which is another. It's a little bit bedaichik, and that's why some people want to learn the different gifts. But that is this is one that was very unclear. Okay, I just missed the point. Fine, Shkoyach. Thank you so much. And we Baruch Hashem finished the second parak, and we Ezra Hashem start the third parak tomorrow, which we will talk about the mincha process.
Love you, Mo. Thank you so much. Let's go. Have a great night.
Good night.